People might remember that in 2006, a man was poisoned in London, and most people will remember it in terms of the photograph that Alexander Litvinenko insisted was taken just before he died. It was a famous photograph of him in a hospital. He'd lost all of his hair, his skin had a very yellow colour. He'd been poisoned with an incredibly rare radioactive substance that it had taken so long for anyone to work out what it was at the hospital, completely understandably, because they'd never really seen anything like it before, that by the time they discovered what it was, his life was certainly going to end. And within that time, he helped detectives from the Metropolitan Police solve his murder. And what the play does is takes us through the story of how back in Russia, before he moved to Britain, he'd worked for the FSB, an organisation formerly known as the KGB, but he'd discovered an awful lot of corruption there. And basically, by telling the truth to power, he got himself in a lot of trouble. So he felt he had to flee with his family to London. But he was always perceived as a betrayer of Russia. I got sent a copy of A Very Expensive Poison, which is a book written by Luke Harding, who's a Guardian journalist. And I started reading it, and within about 10 pages, I thought, yeah, I know exactly how to do this, and it's incredibly theatrical. It's a very free adaptation. I think he'd be the first to say that. Really what it is it's inspired by the energy of the book and the compassion of the book, which particularly goes towards Marina, Alexander Litvinenko's widow. So there's a lot of heart in the book as well, but it's also got this incredibly rolling, thriller-like energy to it, to do with how the murder was solved. And the speed at which they sort of had to do that with the very little time that Litvinenko had left to live. And that in and itself is both moving and compelling.